Gretchen, can I turn it back over to you?
And Bill and Francois are going to join me on the stage. We are in the last 30 strokes of the day, the last 30 minutes. And we really wanted the intention of today to be for you guys to hear about the progress that's been made over the last year, because there has been a lot of work by a lot of people and a lot of progress. So hopefully it's kind of gotten you up to speed on where we are with our safety priority projects. We want to spend just the last 30 minutes of today on our collaboration. And just remember that tomorrow we're going to be talking about the safety climate and how we influence the resourcing of these safety activities with people outside the room. But this is our last chance to take stock on where are we today. And we'd be remiss if we didn't take stock also on our working partnership and our collaboration. So these last 30 minutes, we really want to get input from you on how we're doing on that and where next. So, over to Bill.
Thank you, Gretchen. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about collaboration, and we hear that word all the time with respect to HeliOffshore, and it is the secret to our success. And to make the point, I'm going to talk about birds. Everybody in here knows this is a flock of geese, and we're going to have I'm going to give you a little lesson in aeronautical engineering. The aeronautical engineers in here, can somebody tell me why geese fly in formation like this? No, come on. It's all about aeronautical efficiency and energy efficiency. But behind the geese, each of these geese in the air is a low pressure area, so they're basically drafting. So the geese work together as a team, and as most of you know in here that know anything about flocks of birds, they rotate, and the lead goose will move back to the back, and they'll continue to rotate when they get tired. And because he's doing a lot of work, and the geese behind him are not having to work as hard. Now, the formation will change depending on wind direction and currents. So that's sometimes you'll see a flock of geese, and they're going a very long distance, very tight and almost perfectly in a V formation. This is not a really great picture, but this is really about collaboration. This is the ultimate example of collaboration. If these geese don't work together, they don't achieve extraordinary results. So these are basically an ordinary goose working together with all their friends to achieve extraordinary results. They can actually fly I think it's about 2,000 miles in formation without stopping. An individual goose can only fly about 200 miles. So they're multiplying their capability by 10 times. It's very energy efficient as well, so they really don't need to eat during that period of time. They're burning much less fuel. Anybody have any questions about how that works? Anybody wants to challenge me? So what happens if, say, one of these geese gets a little unruly and decides he doesn't want to play with the other one? He's upset because he's doing all the work, and he doesn't think anybody else is doing any work, so he peels out. Anybody know what happens to that goose? Generally, they'll die within a couple of days. They'll slow down, they'll move out of the formation, and they'll end up, running out of fuel and having to find their own food. And generally, they don't last very long when they're all alone for more than a couple of days. So then you have a goose he's flying along, but he's not really playing the game. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. A flock of geese will actually push that goose out. So that's the goose that's throwing the bombs and always coming up with problems and never coming up with a solution. So the way I see collaboration is where we all come together, we work together as a team, we don't always get our way, we're able to compromise and accept other people's points of view, other people's ways of doing things, and we will achieve some unbelievably extraordinary results in the end. Thank you. Thank you.
And so I wanted to take us back to our very first HeliOffshore conference in 2015. And these are some slides that I showed on that day. We talked about what would be the critical success factors to our organization and our safety mission. And these were those factors. And on this next slide that I'll show you is kind of a little bit of a self-assessment of where are we now with some of those things. So the first point, senior leadership. Here you are. Look at the challenges our industry is facing, and look who's in the room today. If this group of people can't cause anything to occur in our industry, then I'd like to know who could. So, thank you for your leadership and your commitment. Willingness to share. Did you see that last session? Did you see the OEMs up there putting their data in front of the whole room and their competitors and getting really, really clear on, here's where we are? Did you see the data report, the FDM that's coming in, raw data, that we can start to share and use to learn as an industry, the stuff that Matt presented this morning? And there's been so much work on good practice and how do you do this. When Alan Walling spoke today about the way that they collaborated on the FCOM, that whole team coming together and it being all of us working together for our industry. For me, that's amazing. Really, and it's something that all of us in this room have caused to occur, and it's really, really fantastic. If you look at the membership and participation, when we were back in Lisbon, the numbers have just about doubled. And it's good to see. I would say we have twice as many operator members, and there's a lot of people here today from all across the globe, and that's really important. But, the whole supply chain is represented in this room. And then multi-stakeholder groups. More and more, our work is all across the supply chain. We're not able to do this as independent groups. We need to work together, and you see more and more of the actions involving more and more of the parties in this room. And then, the engineer in me really love to see all those slides with dates and plans and aligned priorities, because that's how we know we're going to really get results. So what I would say is I notice very significant progress in our working together and our collaboration in the last 4 years. And François is going to, just for a second, talk about some of the tools that are now available for our collaboration, just to make sure you all know what those are and you've got the opportunity to use them to best effect. And then after that, we're going to ask you a couple questions about what's going well, what would we do next, and what would be the key enabling actions to take us further in our collaboration. So we can get ready for that, and over to François.
Thank you, Gretchen. So how do we, as a multicultural, multinational organization, because we are HeliOffshore, everybody in this room, how do we manage these programs when we're split all over the world? We're all in different time zones. We've got different challenging environments in our own businesses. How do we come together to achieve this? And of course, this was a challenge presented to Gretchen and myself several years ago when we were first starting HeliOffshore. And we suddenly realized, you know what, we need to have a clever way of doing this. So we very quickly partnered with Tonic Analytics, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to Andy Heather at the back there. Please stick up your hand, Andy. Thank you very much. So you know what he looks like. You can go poke him in the chest if you're not happy with this space. But Andy really has been, him and Andy Dolan with Tonic Analytics has been the catalyst to us achieving the ability to do this. And they've held our hand throughout the whole process, and I often call them, Andy, how do we do this? How do we get that done? And they're there for us the whole time. So thank you, Andy. We really appreciate that. What I'm going to do is quite quickly go through some of the stuff that we've got going on and what we've developed in order to collaborate better. But if you could switch to my machine, guys, then I'm just going to ground us back in the safety performance model. And as you remember, and as shown by Matt, obviously we've got system failure, aircraft upset, surface obstacle conflict. Show it for you guys on the same side there, all right? those are still priorities. You've seen by their data they're still priorities, right? And we still need to get this stuff done. And the enablers work stream at the bottom here, right? Which sits safety intelligence, that safety intelligence piece that Matt was talking about earlier this morning. So we have created a set of work streams which is tied and grounded in a strategy that we're all aligned and agree on. And by that, we needed to create a space in which to collaborate, communicate, poll each other, ask questions, upload documents to do that. And we created that space with the help of Andy, Heather, and his team. And so I'm just going to do this rather organically. We created a space. That is the HeliOffshore landing space. It's a web user interface. And you can see there, you've got the work stream, system reliability, operational effectiveness, safety enablers, and we've got the outlier at the moment, survivability, lying on the right-hand side. This is obviously my space. It's personal to me, like Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat. If anybody uses it, I think there's only young people who use Snapchat, right? So, so basically, you see what you're allowed to see, and it's permission-driven. And it's on this, we've got this platform where a lot of the activity takes place. What you can't see that sits behind this platform is all the analytics that Matt was showing you earlier this morning. That's where Tonic and LRG are helping us with the background. So the idea was not to give everybody, look, here's another system you've got to sign into. And then you must sign into another system to do the analytics. And you must sign in to HSIP. And because we realized everybody's got 2 or 3 areas that they have to sign into. And so we really wanted to simplify it and make it easy. So we created this space. And obviously, by going into each of these areas, you can very quickly see, sorry, I've got to put my glasses on, that all the stuff on the left-hand side here is where the work takes place. If I just go back 1 second, let's go into somewhere like operational effectiveness, upset aircraft, FCOM, and this is where all the work is taking place in here. And you can see some of the work already with Alan Walling and Dave Denman and all those guys are getting together. You can see a lot of the work is happening in here. Now, woe betide, you start emailing documents to each other, I'm going to be on you straight away, right? Because everything has to happen here. It's the way that we keep oversight. It's the way the strategy panel keeps oversight. And it's the way that everybody documents everything together. So we've been able to do this. You'll notice that the output from a lot of this stuff ends in a resource, which we make available on our website. So this is our website. It has the same look and feel as the other one. You'll see that you've got the 4 circles here. And if you go into the safety program, yet again, you have exactly the same as you would do on the space. And that's a way that you can go and find the resources. If anybody wants to find anything in there, you click on the Resources tab, and you can go in by work stream, and you can pull out the resources. So I think the FCOM guys are talking about the briefing sheet. The stuff in there will be posted here. I don't have much time, so I'm going to rattle through quickly. And I'm going to demonstrate the space. So what you guys asked for, sorry, oh, that's a message, inappropriately. Right, so what we've done is, the request came from, I think it started with Duncan, right, who said, look, I'm a busy guy, and I don't have the time to sit and stare at my computer. You know, looking at your space and signing into your space, and really, if there's some method that I can actually log in real quick and punch out a message and do that, then is there something available? We went, yeah, we could do that. We can have an app. So we very quickly designed an app. It sits on the Jive platform, so the guys at Tonic helped to set it up. And effectively, if you look at the app, you've got the news across the bottom there. Inbox, there's a message from Day. Thank you, Day. Yes, we'll discuss that later. That is. And basically, so that's my personal inbox. And from here, I can create messages. I can write a blog. You know, I can upload photographs or a document. I can upload a video, start a discussion. You know, there's a whole host of things that I can do here. And then obviously, the browse section takes me back to, so whatever you could do in the website, you could do in the space. So let's look at FCOM, for example. You can go into that. You could see already the material that was already starting to be developed within the FCOM community. And that was a message from Edwin Sutters, General Ismail, so we just know that he's, okay, yeah. Thank you, Edwin. And you can obviously search for people, because this is obviously the best way to do this, is to search for people. And then I can see everything to do with Gretchen, for example. or you can search for FCOM or whatever it is you want to search for. So it's a great place to pull the stuff together and a great way to go through it. So it's a very easy to navigate tool which gives you notifications of all the work that's going on in HeliOffshore. So with that, I think I've run out of time. I'm going to hand back to you because we're going to have a little bit of a discussion now and ask you some questions. But I'd like to say that we do have some licenses left for each individual that we give access to. We do have to pay a fee, an annual fee for that access. So we'll obviously try and encourage everybody to actually put content in there, contribute, collaborate, upload stuff, because the more content we get in there, it draws people to the site, right? Because there's content that's interesting, and that's what people are looking for. So if you're interested in getting the app or getting connected, come and see myself or Jill or Charles or Matt or any of the team, and we'll happily set you up. Okay, Gretchen, I'll hand back to you.
Yeah, and just as a high-level summary, the HeliOffshore space is how we work together to create products. It means people all around the world can be talking to each other 24/7. And on the website will be the output of that work. So once the products are produced, you can get them on the website. Okay, so this is going to be over to you then. And what we'd really like to do is ask you 3 questions. And we'll use PolyV to do this so that we can get some documented responses that we can consider also in slower time. But first of all, what's going well? From your point of view, free text, what are the things that we should keep doing? Keep going, that sounds like grit. Breaking down barriers, RTB.
An apparent willingness to do better.
Data.
Good. So I see a lot of collaboration, data sharing and collection.
Open and honest conversations. Intelligence program. Starting to discuss the hard topics. That's, yeah.
Is that there? Where's that one there? Oh yeah, open talk as well. That's a good one.
Yeah. Participation.
And if anybody wants to take a microphone and say something, please feel
Yeah.
free. You don't have to sit there quietly. I think everybody's put their comments in. Anybody want to add anything verbally? Or you much prefer hiding behind your screen?
Good.
It's a quiet group this year.
It is very quiet this year, Bill.
They're focused. Transparency.
Laser
Good.
focused on the technology.
Linking safety and commercial issues. Great networking. That's the truth.
So those are the things that are doing pretty well. I think that. Yes, thank you. Could we have a microphone for Mr. Kremp?
Yes.
Put your military voice
Tony.
on, Tony.
Well, I'll just check. I think what I was seeing for certainly the last couple of sessions is the realization that this is people's day job, actually.
Yeah.
And that's the collaboration. There's a couple of people that say, and in my day job I do this. I think we're all starting to realize that what we can achieve individually is nothing like as effective as what we are starting to achieve through collaboration.
Thank you, Tony. That's really encouraging. I'd like to take a little bit of what Tony said and just add to that, because that's...
Did everyone hear what Tony said?
Everybody get that? Everybody,
Okay.
So this is a constant thing that I have doing, working with all the work streams and the people that are delivering this stuff, is that it used to be we would park my operational stuff and I'd park HeliOffshore stuff to the side, right? And when times got tough, that stuff just fell by the wayside. And so we've worked a lot with the leadership community, and we've worked with a lot of the work streams to say, no, it's part of your daily work. It is part of what we're all going to do and come together on. So it should be seen as part of your normal role. Thanks, Tony.
HSIP is promising. Delivering results, that's my favorite one. As a results-oriented person, so yeah, brilliant. Okay, so shall we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
These get harder. What should we do differently? Be as concrete and specific as you can be. Go ahead, show us some answers.
And we won't take it personally.
Demand importance. Shorten this session. We're almost done. You've got 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Feels like the end of the Olympic rowing.
Get the workforce, yeah. We all understand the risks, but do they?
Cultural relationships, visibility on preventing acceleration.
It was an info share one, Matt. I didn't see it, but we'll capture
was
it
it?
later. It was an info share one that slipped off the screen, but
Okay.
Matt and I will capture that later. Oh, yeah.
These are being captured.
Yeah.
Yes, we capture all of these so we can actually, follow up with
That InfoShare
Did it come back
3
up?
months?
3 months. I mean, 3 months is just not good enough. Okay. 3 a month is just not good enough. Right. That was the comment. 3 info shares a month is not good enough. So basically what that's saying
Agreed.
is encouraging the operators to continue to report and feed events into the info share system.
Webinars, yeah, that might be one way. It's really important, as Audrey said this morning, to keep fostering the communication and looking at all the ways we can talk even though we're not physically together. So yeah, webinars, good idea.
That's a good point, Gretchen.
Yeah.
And to that, and to Audrey's point, which is classic communication is key, right? We spend a lot of time and effort in communicating out in HeliOffshore, and we've now got a new webinar tool through Zoom that we can actually have our all-member calls. We make it more of a webinar rather than just talking at you, and we can have videos so you can see us, which is unfortunate for the early morning call because I have to get out of my pajamas. But ultimately, it's a really powerful tool.
I saw one about discussing the state of the industry. I can promise you that will be first of the morning tomorrow morning, so we will be doing that. And I think there's one on there about debate, and I think it's quite important. Tomorrow we have an hour scheduled just before the AGM, which is going to be about us talking about what are the most important next actions we need to take. And I'm really hoping that you come to that with, these are the things I think we need to do next. Whether it's in priority safety actions or whether it's influencing the community to get the right resources behind our actions, whatever it is, tomorrow we really want to have that conversation. Yeah, dedicate more.
The one point that was brought up was shorten this session. I think we ought to unpack that, and maybe we're going to have time tomorrow
Yes.
to do when we do the wash-up to talk about, the format.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about every year. We go back and try to look at ways to improve or reduce the time we're doing certain tasks, but we haven't been able to change much, have we?
Yeah, we've done, Jonathan Bailiff is holding over his demand that we get done by 3:30 today and give you time to do other things today. So that's one of the things he's influenced beyond even being here. So, okay. I'm going to move on to the last question. So, from your point of view, if you were picking even one, what's the top 3 enabling actions to make our collaboration more effective? So if you put stuff up, I think you'll also be given the opportunity to vote.
Yeah, they get 3 votes.
Yeah, three things that you believe are most effective. So, is that clear? Anyone?
So I think is this the one that you can, I think I said it as an up and down vote? I hope I did.
Oh, here
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Here
So
it is.
people put in the items that you think are important, and then you can vote them at up or down as things that you see as one of the top priorities.
So you should be able to see everybody else's on your phone, and you can up and down other people's comments. So that can drill out top 3 for us, which is very helpful to us because 3 is a number we can manage. 50 is more challenging.
So communication. Agree. Collaboration tools, trust, workshops.
Does anybody have any ideas on something that they haven't seen here, at least today?
Why are there 2 communications?
I don't know.
2 people put them in, and they both think everyone thinks it's a good idea. They get double the votes. We can add.
We can add them up.
It was the first item that came up, and everybody was speaking on that without opening the whole.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, there we go. There we
I see
go.
which means somebody else put it in. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. I think the message is loud and clear. Audrey, you win.
Brilliant. Really good. Okay. In the interest of the person who said, let's get this done soon, I think we've had very good input from the room. you know, it's important we've got the opportunities to network tonight, and, you know, let's keep the conversations going. We'd just like to very quickly close day one. One thing I really want to do is say thank you to Bell. Bell sponsors the conference, and so everything around us having the conference here today, we really couldn't do it without their generous contribution, and we really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Really, I think you've seen today a big step forward in our delivery of results on our priority projects. Tomorrow, as I said, we'll talk about how do we ensure that our safety actions have the adequate resource behind them. So we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. We're starting again at 8:30 in the morning. Thank you to all of our generous sponsors.